Oh my God. Okay, listen up, guys. Listen. There are so many people out there that struggle to make and save money, and that's something that I've always been interested in. I look at some of the most expensive monthly expenses, and I realize something. I pretty much try and save money in creative, different ways on almost every single category. And so I thought it would be interesting to break it all down for you guys, show you exactly how much money I'm saving in some of these categories, and discuss ways that you can maximize your saving in order to invest and make more money. So without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, first off, listen guys, my name is Dalton. This is dlitztv, and on this channel I talk about all things personal finance and investing. And so I'm just going to jump right in, starting off with one of the most expensive monthly expenses out there, which is housing. Now, if you look at housing, you may think, what are the associated costs with that? Well, the average U.S. Citizen spends about $1,700 monthly on their housing. That's according to Bank of America. And so it's an expense that really starts to add up quite quickly. And so housing typically makes up about 34% of the average person's paycheck, their take-home money. And so eliminating that sort of cost is something that is really, really influential in allowing you to build yourself more income and reach financial freedom. And so just talking about some personal examples, I actually rented out an apartment for my senior year at college. And then the following year, I rented another apartment. And over the span of those 2 years, I spent well over $20,000 just on rent payments alone. That honestly, it was probably 25 to 30 grand that I could have used to foster a down payment and buy my first rental property, right? Because later on, what I realized is I'm sick and tired of paying for somebody else's mortgage. I want somebody to pay for my mortgage. And what I've done since is actually I just am under contract with a duplex right now. And so things are going to flip around, right? It's not going to make up that 34% of my budget. I'm not going to be throwing money away. Instead, I'm actually putting capital into a property that theoretically is going to appreciate in value. I'm going to be able to make more money eventually if I do sell it, but that's not my goal because what I'm going to be doing is renting it out, getting passive income along the way. And the most interesting thing is I could completely eliminate my living cost in terms of rent or mortgage payment by renting out the top unit in this duplex should I choose to live in the bottom unit. So it's really interesting, and it's a series I got going on my channel. So if you want to learn more, just be sure to stick around. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I'll give you all the updates and notifications, talk about any of the renovations that I'm making and what I'm doing to capitalize on the money with that property. Now, the second most expensive thing that people have to deal with is a car payment. Some of the stats behind this, the average car payment is $563 a month per new vehicle, or $397 a month if you bought a used vehicle. And then in terms of leases, it's typically $450 a month. Now, I can proudly say, and I've been in a fortunate situation, I have never ever once had a car payment that I've needed to deal with. Using techniques and not having to waste money on on financing, right, is going to be critical towards further building financial freedom. And so for me, for example, I drove a 1993 Audi Cabriolet. It was this little convertible. It didn't have heat. It didn't have AC. So the winters were rough. The summers were, not as great. The next car that I had was a 2003 Infiniti i35, which was I actually got from my grandmother. She had passed away, and we were able to use that car for me to drive because that 93 Cabriolet was on its way out. So that kind of filtered itself in. Never had a car payment on that, and that lasted me up into actually this very week where I took it in for an inspection. The car itself is only worth about $1,200. The expenses that would have taken to be able to get it to pass inspection were upwards of $3,500. So hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm actually going to pretty much scrap that car and go and purchase a new used car for complete, cash out. I'm not going to worry about setting up a car payment. I'm literally going to buy it with cash that I've saved in the bank. Now, speaking of the bank, this brings me to number 3, and that's actually where you're housing your money, right? You might be thinking the traditional banking system is the way you want to go. And honestly, I used to keep my money in the bank and never really invested or did anything else with it. But then you realize you can make so much more money just by displacing your money a little bit. If you've only used one bank account, I urge you to go check out the interest rate on your bank. I believe it'll be less than 1%. I think with any money that you have, you at least need a high interest savings account that is going to be greater than 1%. Oftentimes you can find some greater than 2%. And so that way you're going to be able to just make a little bit of extra money with money that you have saving in the bank. And then with that money, what you got to realize is that one technique that I actually practice is I will have an emergency fund in a high interest savings account, one that I can access should anything happen if I need the funds. That emergency fund is 6 to 12 months of my living expenses. I just like to have more of a buffer room. A lot of people say 3 to 6 months, but 6 to 12 is what I am comfortable with. And so that's exactly where I keep that money. And then literally everything else that I have, I actually invest in the stock market. So it seems intimidating. A lot of people are worried about the stock market, but on average, you invest in a market tracing ETF, you can get around an 8 to 12% return annually from the stock market. And when you realize you're actually losing money by just keeping your money in the traditional banking system, because inflation immediately is going to wipe away any sort of gains that you get from that very small APY from the bank, versus if you are going to invest it, you're actually going to be able to make money, right? If you keep your money in the bank, there is a 100% chance that you are losing money. If you invest your money instead into the stock market, there's a chance that you're going to lose money, but it's more likely if you're investing for the long term, you have the right principles, that you're going to end up making money. What I talk about a lot on this channel is saving money with your phone bill, right? And you think that you hear these big names, you know, the AT&Ts, the Verizon Wirelesses, the T-Mobiles. I use a cell phone service, which I'm pretty sure not a lot of people have heard about. It's Mint Mobile. Now, actually, the owner is Ryan Reynolds. And on this phone plan, it actually saves me $980 per year just by utilizing a phone service that has the same cell phone towers as T-Mobile, actually gets better coverage in my area than Verizon, but I'm able to maximize the amount of money I'm saving because it is a cheaper phone plan. And to be completely honest, through referrals and just talking about this company to some of my friends, you know, I think if 5 people you get to sign up, you realize, hey, you guys can save $980. It's a super easy pitching point. You're going to get your phone bill covered for the entire year. So I paid for my first year on this phone service. The second year is completely free because I've been able to refer enough of my friends and family to the service. And I'd never talk about something that I wouldn't recommend on this channel. So if you're interested in learning more, I'd highly suggest just go check out my review video. I'll have it linked right here. Now, another area that has proved to have tons in savings for me has just been actually online grocery shopping. And I used to go in person, and I never enjoyed it. The experience of going there, taking a few hours out of my days, hours that I could be actually making money through work, through YouTube, my side hustle, whatever. It always frustrated me. I just never had a good experience with it. I'd always end up getting up to the cash register and spending, $50, $75, $100 more than what I expected when going into the grocery store. So now I actually online grocery shop, and this has completely changed my life. I don't think I'll ever go back to shop for groceries in person. And a lot of people are worried, hey, they might pick out the wrong produce or whatever. Number one, I don't eat too much produce. I eat like crap, and I really got to change that. So hopefully in the future that will change. But number two, every time I have gotten anything, I literally have no complaints. There was one time where some lettuce that I bought was expired. That was the only issue I had, and I've probably done online grocery shopping for 8 months now and really haven't had any qualms with it. What the best part is that as you're creating your grocery cart, you're seeing the expenses roll in. So you know exactly how much you're going to be spending. You're not going to be surprised. You know exactly what goods you need. It's best because you can sit at home, pop open the fridge, go there, check it out, understand exactly what products you need. Instead of making that list manually, you can literally just add it into your cart. And what I've done is I've created a budget grocery shopping list where I have, relatively healthy stuff in there, and it's cheap. and I could buy that same stuff over and over and over again and just be able to maximize my savings. And if you guys are interested in that list, I can share it in a future video, but I don't want to get too far into the details right now. Now, the next tip I have for you guys is to just start a side hustle. Put everybody's thoughts aside, right? If you're grinding and you're making more money than what you're typically paid in a maybe 9-to-5 job, or even just maybe you're younger and you're working, I used to scoop ice cream, and on the side, I would actually flip iPhones, right? I'd buy broken iPhones in high school, and I learned through YouTube videos just how to fix those iPhones, cracked screens, batteries need to be replaced, things of that nature. And it's a lot simpler than you think. So I used to buy phones and sell them for profits of upwards of $200, $300 in some cases. And I'd try to get, 2 to 3 phones done a week. And this really helped another way to maximize my savings. And then I could just use that money in other categories that I wish. And so, if I realized that kind of investing that money earlier on, I'd be making a lot more today. I wish that I had done that, but it's just something to keep in mind. So I think a side hustle is so detrimental in today's day and age to actually develop a financial path, right? And I see a lot of my friends, they have a good time. They don't necessarily, some of them actually don't even have 9-to-5 jobs. Some of them don't work, but they're enjoying where they're at right now. But 10 years from now, when things sort of flip and tables start to turn, when I don't necessarily need to clock into a 9-to-5 job and worry about where my next paycheck is coming, and these people are going to be scrambling, then they're going to be sitting down and being like, man, you were completely right. I should have had more drive when I was younger because I don't want to do this now. You see, as you get older, I think it becomes harder to clock into work, to want to do all these different things. So with that drive right now, I think that is the biggest draw to me, right? Is that I'm a hustler. I have the energy to go out, make YouTube videos, talk about these things, save money, and show you exactly how to carve your own path and make it financially, because I'm in the process of doing that myself. Now, another thing I do to actually maximize my savings and make more money is to declutter at least once a year, where I go through all of my old stuff, maybe some stuff that I purchased throughout the year. And if I don't use it anymore, I'll probably try and sell it. People just become lazy. They just don't want to put in the effort to either return items that they might buy. I've bought things from Amazon, and just because I'm lazy, I haven't gone to return them, even if they're the wrong size or I don't use it. Or honestly, sometimes I've received like broken or damaged products, and I've been too lazy to go return it. Now it's so easy to do it. You can go to a drop-off location and you don't even need to print labels or anything. They'll handle it all for you. And so if you just have a little bit more effort into these things, you're able to, again, save more money. Not paying for memberships. So I don't have a Spotify account. I don't really listen to music all that much, but when I do, it's through YouTube, and that's free, right? I can just go onto YouTube, look up a song, and start playing it. Another thing that I don't have a membership for is Netflix. I have other family members that have a Netflix account. Yeah, I might be mooching a little bit, but honestly, I could throw them a little bit of change here and there, but it's one way to just get by, right? They have the product, the service anyways. It's not like it's going to negatively impact them. If it was taking up their screen time, they weren't able to watch the shows that they want, then it would really make an impact and I'd feel bad about it. But it's services that they've bought anyways. And like I said, I'll try and chip in other ways, help out in different manners, but it's just another thing that's lifted off my shoulders. I don't necessarily have to worry about that expense. Now, I meant to mention this when I was talking about groceries, but just eating out at restaurants is a massive expense for so many people. I think putting limitations on something like this really makes a big difference. When I was in college, I used to go to McDonald's. I used to eat at all these different places all the time. And McDonald's, I'd always, buy off the dollar menu because I've been a little bit conscious about my spending. But, it's very easy to get a couple meals that add up to be a decent amount of money. I actually went to McDonald's the other day. I got 2 meals and I didn't realize that meals at McDonald's now are upwards of $20, $22 when you get 2 of them. And it's absolutely crazy. But then if you go on top of that, you're going to different bars, different restaurants with friends. The money adds up so quickly. I went to a Mexican restaurant. I bought a pitcher for margaritas. And basically the total bill that I had at the end of the night for my girlfriend and I was $120, which, you don't really think too much about during the time that you're doing it. But then it really adds up when you do this time and time again. So a lot of my friends will go out pretty much, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday nights, whenever, and they'll always be inviting me to go to these places, but being able to say no and just kind of saving more money helps me establish myself, get a little bit more of a financial backing. And kind of my rule of thumb right now was when this became a really big issue. And I sat down and I looked at my expenses and I realized, hey, most of my spending comes from eating at restaurants. Well, I need to change that. I sort of set a limitation. I said to my girlfriend, I said, listen, we're going to go out to eat, one time a week, just have a date night. And other than that, we're going to want to try and save as much money as we possibly can. And so I want to leave you with this, like being creative, finding different ways to save. I live at home with a parent right now. I just try and maximize all these different ways. It's allowed me to save for a down payment on a duplex and be not have to worry too much about my car that I need to get a new one now, and figure out a different creative way to save money around that category. I'm always thinking of ways to save money. And so if you guys have any creative ways that you save money, or any suggestions for me or anybody in the comment section, I really appreciate it if you just leave a comment, let me know. And then on top of that, again, I just want to beat home the drum, guys. Start a side hustle, start a YouTube channel. You'll find an audience. It'll work out. You just got to grind. If you have the drive, you'll make it. I really don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything, but I'm making more from YouTube stuff that I have been from my 9-to-5 job. So if you find the right side hustle, you have that drive, you can really make it work. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for checking out this video. Leave a comment, any suggestions, and have a great day. Speaking of saving money on groceries, Kraft spirals. You're like, what the heck is this red crap all over it? I eat hot sauce on literally everything. I would put it on cereal if I ate cereal. Trust me, this is freaking amazing.